My guest today is actually somebody I went to high school with. The internet may know him as the Christian Barbarian, but I know him as Barrett. Talk about a lot of things. Talk about his life with Christ. Talk about the things he's dealt with. Talk about the culture as it is today. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Barrett.
So after we're all done, how soon do you think this would be up on YouTube?
Good question.
My sister was curious.
Okay. And actually, I was listening to one of your TikTok videos. So your sister's a pastor?
Yeah, she's a minister, youth minister right now. So she does youth stuff and helps like young adults with questions, stuff that like they like those hard questions
like apologetic kind of stuff, like
kind
why does this happen to me? Why does evil exist? That kind of thing.
Stuff like that. Hard questions that people, especially kids, like because they're young adults that grew up in the church. Usually, the youth that she's ministering, and she has like a whole segment that she does when she does Bible studies with them or Sunday school. She hates that. I always like, oh, you're just a Sunday school teacher, and she's like, no, I'm not. But yeah, no, it's just like questions. Can I ask that? Like, things about sex, just sins, stuff that they may not be comfortable asking, like their pastor or their mom and dad, or because they're afraid of being judged or whatever.
Gotcha.
And she will break the awkwardness and be like, this is stuff you guys should know. Yes, let's talk about this, whatever it may be. And she comes at it from a Christian perspective, if that makes sense.
No, that's how it should be.
Yeah. So,
well, with that said, man, thanks for coming on. I've known you for, was it junior year, probably?
I started hanging
2011-ish.
I think I started hanging out with Kyle in 2010, my sophomore year.
Okay.
So I don't know if you were.
I've known you for a while. Let's put it that way.
It's been a long time.
Well, what's new since high school?
Married, kid, moved out of state. And that's pretty much it. Just working and living, really.
Living. And you're out in Arizona?
Yes. Love it out there.
Do you get used to the heat?
Yes. And if you know me, you know I hate the heat. And that, honestly, I knew I wanted to get out of California, but I definitely, Arizona, of all the states that I was willing to move to, was at the very, very bottom because of the heat. And God opened that door, made it impossible to say no, took it, and you get used to it. As someone who, if it's over 70, it's hot. That's how I operate.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from somebody like that, yes, you do get used to it. It gaslights you. It will be 120 for 4 months straight, or dang near 4 months straight. 118, 117, 120. A 91 day will roll around, and you're like, ooh, well, it's a nice day. It's chilly. You look at it. It's 93 degrees outside. And you're like, 93 in San Diego, I'd be sweating. Humidity is
a little bit different out here.
Yeah, and so it gaslights you because you go from 120 down to 90. That's a huge jump. And you're like, oh, this is a beautiful day. And you're like, anybody else is like, dude, I am sweating bullets. What are you talking about?
It's like the people from out of state that come here from Arizona. They'll wear like jackets at the beach when it's like 85 degrees out there.
Oh yeah, I can still spot those guys.
That's probably you now.
No, like I said, it's hot. It's hot out here. The humidity is killing me. Yeah. It was just like me and my wife were talking about it last night. Like, dude, it's so hot out here. And everyone's like, we thought you'd be cold. I'm like, nah, it's muggy. It's hot. Like, yeah, that the dry and the humidity definitely make a big difference for sure.
Now, how do you beat 120 degree heat day? Do you just get all your errands done early in the day?
You don't beat it. It beats you, dude. And that's something you just have to accept. You got to accept that you're walking literally on hell on earth. But yeah, that's the move. If you want to do something like barbecue, go get errands done, whatever it may be, you're either going to do it early in the morning or late at night when the sun's down. If the sun's down, that's the time. Like you kind of notice like there's a little bit more activity in the summer at night.
Yeah.
During the day, it would kind of almost be a ghost town, kind of. And then at night, you see like all of a sudden, like Target's packed at, 6 p.m. You're like, what the heck? Like,
So if it's 120-degree weather day, like even like the lowest in the morning, it's probably still like 95 at least. Yeah.
in the summer, it won't get below 100 and something. So,
Jeez.
like I said, I was telling you about the 3 months of hell where it's June, July, and August. Specifically those months, if it's 119, 118 that week, your mornings are looking like 111, 100, maybe 106 around there. That's your crisp, cool morning. You open the door, just you're like walking into an air fryer. That's what it feels like.
Arizona is one of the places I've considered moving, but it's the heat like that. I don't know if I can constantly do. I don't really mind being out in heat. It's more, I think probably it's a little bit more forgiving out there to run your air. I don't really know how that compares to like California prices when it comes to like running air and stuff like that. Because we also do have, power outages and crap like that too out here.
Yeah, we don't deal. You see, and that's another thing why I love Arizona. I don't deal with the crap from like California has. Like
it's almost a given that you have at least one power outage a year in California.
I haven't had a power outage. Thank God, I haven't had a power outage. I haven't experienced one since I've left here.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know.
You must have a good grid system out there.
Such a rich state, but
oh yeah,
they're like built on toothpicks or something out here. I don't know what's going on, but
they don't. Even the whole thing about like being like green conscious, electric cars, being friendly. But then when we have really hot weather out here and it's like, okay, well, we don't want you to charge your cars out here either because we don't want a power outage. But it's like, how are we supposed to get to work? How are we supposed to function?
Yeah.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah. It's go green, make everything electric. But
we don't have the system to actually run that.
Yeah, but everybody don't go electric because you're gonna kill our infrastructure. But yeah, buy Teslas and more electric hybrids and whatever else. So.
Yeah, good times. But most importantly, though, do you mind describing your walk with Christ, how it was in the beginning when you were getting raised compared to what it is now?
Sure. So my mom was a minister. She was devout Christian. As I get older, I kind of see, me and her wouldn't see eye to eye. She was, I hate to word it this way, but for lack of a better word, she was a victim of satanic panic in the 80s.
Okay.
So, are you aware of that?
Vaguely. Not. Yeah. I was like, can you describe it?
I think it was Focus on the Family. Came out with. I wish I researched it more, but they came out with like this push of everything's demonic, everything is satanic, and I'm not saying I disagree with that.
So is Led Zeppelin demonic practically?
Yeah, oh yeah. My mom would say that hat you're wearing, Grateful Dead. Why are you wearing a skull? Jesus Christ conquered death. Why would you wear a skull? Like, and my response would be because Jesus Christ conquered death. I can wear a skull because of that. But my mom, it was Pokemon's bad, Harry Potter's bad. And some things I do agree with. Like the whole like witchcraft, like she's like, we don't play with that. And a lot of that is stuck with me. And I still to this day, I agree with that. Like, it's like, oh, Harry Potter's innocent and stuff. And I get that. But also there's just some things I'm not willing to risk. Just in case she is right and I'm the dumb one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just certain things, but she was, oh man, everything, Blake, everything was demonic. So
what denomination?
So she, I guess when I was born or before I was born, I believe my sister said that we were Pentecostal, came from a Pentecostal church, which is kind of weird because when we got older, she was like, Pentecostals are like borderline cult. And,
speaking in tongues and things like that, which some people are very, leery of,
which was kind of weird because when my sister was saying, well, we used to go to a Pentecostal church when you were little or before you were born. But yeah,
because I'm even thinking of that TikTok video they made at the Pentecostal church.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Dude, you have the natural gift of comedy. You're just naturally funny. Just some of the stuff that you come up with, man, like it's great. It's gold.
Dude, I have to hold myself back so much because I'm on a Christian platform.
Yeah.
And it's like I get frustrated with myself because I'm like, man, I wish I could do this, but that's just not like that's not how I should represent God. And then it's like I kind of like I almost envision God or Jesus is like why are you getting upset at that? Like, like you should be following me willingly. Like, and it's like, it's just, I have a lot of, because it's easy to be funny if you're going to be crude and vulgar and not representing Christ. It's very easy to do that. You cuss a little bit, you get loud, you let out raw emotion, but when you're representing Christ, you can't do that, right? So, there is a lot of navigation. There's been times where I've made videos. I'll give you an example. So when I first started the channel, and we'll get to, how it started, but when I first started the channel, I literally would leave my phone open. I had 0 followers, maybe 10 followers, whatever, because I started on TikTok. And I would leave my phone open, and I knew I wanted to make Christian content, and I would leave the account open, and I would pray over it, and I would say, Lord, this is your channel, not mine. I will come up with videos and ideas and stuff, and but lead me, convict me. I want to talk about the things that you want me to put out there. And he blessed it, like he really did. And there was times where I was just not even thinking about making videos, and all of a sudden, video idea popped in my head. The whole from start to finish done, and it was like almost like that kind of feels like I'm being given an idea, and I better make a video. And then there's other times where I'm like, oh, I'll make this. I remember this one time, this specific video, and this is like how strongly I was being convicted in making content. I made a video about Lot and his wife turning into a pillar of salt. And it was supposed to be a comedy thing, right? It was gonna be real funny. And after I made it, I had just clear as day, and I'm telling you, it was like so surreal. It was like, why is that funny? And I was like, oh, well, it's the story. And he's all, somebody lost their wife and their life because they disobeyed me. Why is that funny? And I was like, oh. And when it's like, when you're looking at these things through God's eyes, we like to make jokes, right? Like, haha, like Peter cut off that guy's ear, like, because Peter was, so rambunctious or whatever it may be. We laugh about it, Christian humor and stuff. But when you look at it through God's eyes, you're like, that's not a joke to him. Like, that she was being punished because she disobeyed. And not only did she get punished because she disobeyed, but Lot also lost his wife because of it. And when you look at it through God's lens, it's like, that's not funny, dude. And that was like, whoa. Okay. So I just stopped like recording and editing it, and I just deleted it. And I let conviction really lead me a lot through this channel. And that's probably why it's not as successful as it could be. Because, if I kind of went on, well, I'll listen to other people and do what, these people are recommending or whatever, I might have gotten further. But I don't want to get far if God isn't behind the helm. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So to go back to how I was raised, like I said, my mom was a minister, and that's how I was raised. Pokemon's demonic, all these different things. But she also had a lot to teach too, because she spent every waking moment in the Word and reading and learning. And so she did teach me a lot, but a lot of things I disagreed with. And we grew up, just me, my brother, and my sister grew up like that, under that type of teaching, that type of Christian household. But I've always been kind of like the rebellious one. And well, my brother was worse, but when it came to like being in the faith, I was the rebellious one. My sister wanted to make mom and God happy. I wanted to piss off Satan. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't like, I'm doing this to make God happy, I'm doing this to piss off the devil type thing. And like, that was my whole thing, was God is the strongest. I can do whatever I want, mom. Like, I can play with Pokemon cards because God saved us. Like, and that was my thing, was devil can't touch me. I can touch these things and play with these things. He can't touch me because I'm washed in the blood of Christ. That was like, looking back, that was the kind of mindset that I had. And I grew up and learned more that like I was a fool. Yeah. But yeah, so we ended up going. Where
was your father? What was that?
My father died when I was 5.
Okay.
So she actually, after a few years after his death, my mom did end up remarrying to a pastor. for Set Free Ministries. I don't know if you ever heard of that. We actually have, or I don't know if they're still around, honestly, because there was a lot of controversy with those guys. But we had a branch out here in El Cajon somewhere. But yeah, then my mom and him felt led by God to open a branch in Fresno. So then we moved to Fresno, and he ministered. So I was technically a pastor's son and a minister's son, forever. Then they ended up splitting. We moved back down to San Diego. And when we moved back down to San Diego, we were homeless for ninth grade till I was homeless from ninth grade till 2014. But yeah, that was the whole time I was in high school and stuff. Yeah, I was homeless, dude.
Still a long time.
Yeah, I was living in a church. So our church that we went to took us in, and we were living in a office, like a old pastor's office in National City. So I was going to Highland Baptist Church. Actually, I was living in one of their offices with my mom, just a room, room smaller than yours, man, like just tiny, and went to church all the time. Then my mom died while we were homeless. So I was really homeless. That's what I always say. It was like I was homeless. Me and my mom were homeless. Then she died. Then I was really homeless.
You really didn't tell anybody. Did you really tell anybody about this in high school? Because I had no idea.
No, nobody knew, dude. Nobody knew. And like if I had like a girlfriend or like friends that I was like, I always had an excuse. I actually made a video on my TikTok about it. It was kind of funny because I did that Breaking Bad sound where they're like, we're going to bring it over to your house. My house. Yeah, your house. No, wait, not my house. Like I used that sound because I was literally living in a church office room. And the friends that did know, I would lie and say, oh yeah, this church has what's called a pastor's house in it. And it's like in a little apartment inside the church where the pastor usually lives, but our pastor doesn't live there. He's got his own house. So I was living in a room, dude. I was living in like maybe a 15 by 7 room, office room. It was real long and narrow. And my bed was on the end. My mom's bed was on the other end. We had a little cart with a microwave on it. And then a little bookshelf that we kept all our stuff on. But that was it, and everything we lived out of our car, really. There was the showers for after the baptism, like baptism showers upstairs, and so it was like a L-shaped building, really. You had the sanctuary where you do Sunday worship, and then there was a bunch of there was a kitchen. Thank God, there was a kitchen, a bunch of classrooms and stuff, and then it L'd, and then that's where we stayed. So we had access to shower and kitchen, thank God. But while I was at school, my mom would do our laundry at the laundromat or whatever. And yeah, nobody knew, dude. Nobody had an idea, had a clue at all. And people would be like, you wore that shirt yesterday. And I'm like, mind your business, dog. Like, I like this shirt, and really I didn't have a choice because all my other shirts were dirty. My mom just didn't do any laundry, and that was the cleanest one out of the bunch. But London didn't even know. Our buddy, I just told him like this, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I told him, and he was like, what? I was like, yeah, dude, the whole time I was in high school, I was homeless. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, dude, it's fine.
It's like your faith at that time when you're homeless, were you upset at God? Were you questioning?
Job. I looked to Job. I'm actually going to get teary-eyed if I talk about that too much, but yeah. Job was my favorite. And I knew that there was a reason for it. And like I said, my mom instilled that in my life, in my head from day one. Following God isn't easy. And some people have lavish lives and a house and stuff like that, or just normal lives. Maybe it's not super lavish, but they have housing and stuff. And some people don't get that. And my mom had really good work history. She worked for a Chicago title down here in San Diego, downtown San Diego. She made really good money, more money than she ever let on. So she had means, but a lot of the doors were shutting for her. There wasn't really an access to make money. So and she had a lot of back problems too. She was practically disabled, really, with how bad her back was. So even if she did get hired, I don't know how long she'd be able to keep a job. But yeah, it was That's what got me through it, really, was just, I understand that not everybody is going to have a normal or a nice or super comfy life. And it'd be so funny, dude, because I'd go to school and like we'd make friends and stuff and add them on Facebook or whatever, and I see them in front of their houses with like palm trees and like, you know, like the fake rocks that hide their like irrigation valves and stuff, and like really nice, beautiful homes. And it's like, there was a time where I'd be like, God, like these people don't even believe in you. Like, matter of fact, they talk against you and they're allowed to have these nice things. I just don't understand. Like, my mom is so diehard for you. Like, and I don't know why you would keep her destitute. And that was something I didn't understand. But it was never that. I had my moments where I'd get really frustrated, but I never like held it against him, though. You know, there was times I got frustrated and I was like, what the heck, you know, but I never held it against him. Like, and Job is what got me through. And I was like, look at Job. Job was a devout man of God, living his best life. And that might even be worse for some, to grow up and have this beautiful life built for you and then it to be taken because God had a point to be proven. And that mattered more than Job's comfort and his happiness. And that's something, when we serve God, is something we need to understand, is our comfort and our happiness doesn't matter. What God needs done is what matters, you know. And it might put us in a position where we need to be miserable. We might not be too thrilled with the position that we're in, but it's to serve God. God has a purpose that we may not even see or understand. We might not know the importance of it. We just know, I'm uncomfortable. I hate this. I don't like living like this, or I don't like doing this. But that's something that I took from Job was, and it wasn't, at the end, God gives him his stuff back, pretty much, really. You get, what was it, double? You'll have more kids and more cattle. And that wasn't the goal for me. The goal was, I understand that some people are just going to have to deal, and I don't even have it that bad. I'm just homeless. But some people you're going to have to kind of give up comforts for the kingdom of God, for his will to be done. Why we were homeless, dude, I couldn't tell you, still to this day. I don't know if it put us in a position to be somewhere for someone else that I don't remember, plant a seed. Even if it was to save one person, it would have been worth it. Me being homeless that long, if it meant one person would have a seed planted, a genuine good seed on good soil be planted, then it was worth it, right? And that's how I look at it. Like, I still, you know, sometimes when you see God work in your life, you can look back and see how the pieces fit. And you're like, okay, now, back then it didn't make sense, but now I see it, you know. I don't see that with me being homeless. I still to this day don't understand. Is it for me to have a testimony, for me to be able to relate to other people? Was it for somebody back then that I talked to and didn't realize, and the only way I would have ever had an interaction with them if I was homeless? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But that was Job, really, man. That's what got me through that. And then my mom died while we were homeless, and I had to go stay with my buddy Derek. And God bless him and his mom. They took me in, and eventually I moved out, and then I started dating my now wife. And yeah, we had a kid really fast. As you can see, so before I get ahead of myself, I wasn't living for God, right? I was a believer. I had always been, oh man, you cannot shake my faith. I knew God was real. Like, but you know, I'm going to do some coke, but I'm going to smoke a lot of weed. I'm going to kick this guy's butt. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get angry. Like, I'm going to live real scary, dude. But deep down, I knew God existed, and nobody could take that from me. And I carried that everywhere I went, even though when I was acting a fool, I wasn't a Christian, right? I just thought I was, what did I say? I was a believer, not a follower. I was a believer of Christ, not a follower of Christ. Thought I was, but deep down I knew I wasn't. I believed in God, but I wasn't producing fruit. Does that make sense? I wasn't producing any fruit. I had no works, and through my faith, I had no works. But what good is faith if you have no works, right? Like if you're not changed by God, you're not living for God, you're not doing what God commands you to do. You know what I mean? So I knew God existed. I knew Jesus died for my sins. And I took that very seriously, but only up here, never outward. I never represented that. And a lot of people would have never guessed. And I used to think that was a cool thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm Christian. Oh, I would have never guessed. I'm like, yeah, man, Christians could be cool too. Give me that gram of Coke. Like, that's how I was, that's how I was living, dude. And, it was bad, bro. It was really bad. But then, I eased up slowly, but surely God was chiseling away at me. And I honestly believe the reason for that might be for what I'm doing today, which is reaching out to those who might have grown up around drugs, maybe metalheads, stuff like that, stuff in my niche, and I can reach them because me being there firsthand, me being in the pits, me being at the concerts, me being in, me being in the scene, growing up in that scene, I understand these people need God. I actually talked to the guy that did my tattoo I was telling you about. His name's Alex Ansel. I'll give him a shout out. He does he's on Instagram, Alex Ansel, and he is a devout Christian. And he was talking about how he grew up in Ohio, and a lot of the scene out there is punk rockers, or even like Midwestern emos. And a lot of them are, they're like crust punks, they're like train hopping, like when you think of Rancid, you got that picture of the guy with the mohawk and the battle leather jacket on. He's like godless people, but they will give you the shirt off their back. The most humble, like if you need help, they will help you. They love people. They will take care of each other. They will take care of those they see in need. But God deniers, avid God deniers. And we went on, we're like, well, no wonder the devil tries so hard to keep these people off of the light. Because, man, if they had Jesus in their heart, those would be soldiers for Christ. If that's how they act without the sacrifice, if that's how they act without knowing Jesus, when they get to know Jesus, dude, they'd be a threat, a real threat. No wonder that they're infiltrated with drugs and sex and that lifestyle. Because the second Jesus enters one of them, they become like him. And that guy kind of took me back a little bit when I met him. Like, and it was, dude, if they all converted, oh my gosh. Like they're a real threat to the enemy, man. Real threat. And that's something that we discussed when I was with them. And yeah, it was.
So, I mean, you didn't originally create Christian content on TikTok, right? You were doing other stuff on TikTok?
Yeah, it was like a personal account, really. I was just trying to, like, you said, I always had this thing for comedy. And I was like, oh, that'd be fun. And some of it did good, some of it did bad. But it wasn't glorifying God. And I remember, so we'll get to how I started right now. So, I had actually stopped doing TikTok because I was like, I kind of gave up on it. I was like, I'm not that funny, like I'm not, gonna go anywhere with it funny. So I gave up on it. And I remember, like, I would see videos where it was like 2 million likes. And it was the stupidest thing, Blake. The stupidest thing. I'd be like, I worked hard on this one skit that I did or joke I did. And it was actually, I sent it to people. I'm like, hey, is this funny? Tell me the truth. Like, dude, that's hilarious. So I got actual real feedback. People were like, no, that's actually funny.
Just didn't fit in the algorithm.
Yeah, it flopped. And I'm like, and I'll get frustrated because I see 2 million likes on the stupidest thing. I'm like, and this is when I was taking my faith more seriously, right? So at this point, I had moved out to Arizona. I was really like, I'm going to let God lead my life. I need to start following him. My daughter had a big hand in that. She was, just when you have someone to take care of and I'm scared alone in this world, I leaned on Jesus. Like I said, even when I was doing the stupidest, grungiest, dirtiest, violent things, I leaned on Jesus. And when I moved out there, I was like, I knew he had led us out there. He opened those doors. And I was like, I really need to start doing what my mom taught me to do from day one. So out there, I was taking my faith more seriously. I was reading my Bible. I was praying. And I was like, I'm going to start devoting my life for him, saying no to these things. I stopped doing coke. I stopped smoking weed. I stopped drinking completely. Maybe it would be like a beer once in a blue moon on a hot day in the pool.
Was it a blue moon?
No, it was not a blue moon. I hate those. Give me headaches. It would be like a Michelada or something.
Gotcha.
Like a canned one or whatever. But yeah, once in a great, when the stars align and it's a hot day, I'm in the pool, I'll have a Michelada, and that was it. That was as crazy I was getting. And the nicotine habit I can never been able to kick. But I started taking my faith more seriously. And I was praying more and speaking to God more. And I was bringing, Blake, I'm telling you, I was bringing everything to God. Everything. And even this annoying, stupid, such superficial gripe to God I was like, God, you blessed me with this like creativity and this yearn to make people laugh. Like, well, and I did, and this guy got 2 million likes. He's doing something with his, which I think is terrible, but it's his comedy. And, it was like, so before I continue with that, I was starting to seek more and more Christian content, and I was like, that's not how I would have put that. That's not, I'd see a video. Man, you left out a really like, not hating, but like, critiquing. Like, man, you missed out a very important point. Like, no, that's not, great idea. I would have done it differently. And so like that had been going on for a few months. And I was like, should I do Christian content? I was like, And so I bring up this gripe one day. I was just so annoyed. I don't know why I was so annoyed, but I just saw this video and I was annoyed. And I was like, God, like you blessed me with it. And like, what am I supposed to do with it? You blessed me with this. Like, what am I supposed to like? I'm like, look at this. Like I do all this and it's not going anywhere. Like clear as day. Just the biggest, like, not audibly, but it was like a overwhelming feeling of like, shut up, like shut your mouth. And just immediately it was, why would I bless that? That doesn't honor me. That doesn't serve me. That doesn't glorify me. Why would I bless that? And I was like, whoa. And then it hit. Okay, I've been seeing these videos, Christian videos. I'm critiquing them. I know I feel like I would do a better job for certain things. I would do a better job, or I feel like this is missing from the scene. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll start doing Christian content this weekend. No, right now. Make the account right now. And it was like, okay. And I was actually working in Arizona. I helped open a brand new warehouse. We were open, stocked, ready to go, no customers. So it was always slow. And that's where my first videos are, is me inside the warehouse, hiding in an office room, making videos. And or in the carpet room, you can see sometimes all the racks and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'll start now.
Do you remember your very first video?
It was, oh man, my first videos were kind of bad, but I remember I did.
What about like the very first video that you felt very proud of that actually went somewhere, that you felt really confident in?
So when I knew I needed to make the change was, I've always been a devout. I've always been a real heavy metalhead, like hardcore, like I love metal. And I remember I did something. What did I do? Oh, I found Bloodlines is what happened. Because I had always been looking for metal music that was glorifying God. And I found plethoras of Christian metal bands. Plethoras. Great bands. Don't get me wrong.
Isn't Under Oath technically a Christian band? Or is that a lie?
That's
I
They're
was told wrong. I don't even like that kind of music, to be honest with you. I don't.
Yeah.
Screamo music, it's never appealed to me. I just don't understand it.
Whoa, Blake. Screamo music.
That's what they do.
Screamo? Oh, are you talking about Hawthorne Heights Screamo? Like emo Scream?
To the point where I don't understand what the hell they're saying.
No, so Under Oath, I feel like they have the same thing that was going on with Lifehouse. Remember Lifehouse?
Yeah.
I think where it was like some of them were Christians, but they weren't like a Christian band. They weren't identifying as God-fearing, a God-fearing band.
Gotcha.
So I was looking for, the issue I had was I was trying to find like, oh, here's a Christian band that is glorifying God, but it wasn't barbaric enough. It wasn't in your face enough. It wasn't like loud and proud for the Lord. It wasn't worship enough. Then I found Bloodlines. Scripture infused lyrics. Like everything there's a message. And it's always worshiping him, and it's loud and it's proud. It's in your face. And it helps that they're talented and it sounds good. But that's when I fell in love with them. So then I was like, man, these guys are sick. And I think when I found them, they only had a few thousand like monthly listeners. And I was like, man, these people need to know about these guys. These guys are sick, man. Like, they're like, their music is beautiful. Like, if you read some lyrics, you'd be like, wow, like you'd be like, this is a metal band. Like, and I did a video with one of their songs where he screams Yahweh, let your voice be heard. And I had like this filter where I'm like in a house and like cops are like pulling up to the house, and it was like deny God, or it was like deny your faith or go to jail. And then eventually, like in the filter, your like head is on a body and you're running away from the cops. And I'm using that sound, or I'm singing that sound, Yahweh, let your voice be heard. And that was probably like, that was like my first like viral video. Mm-hmm. And I had the most fun making it. And people were like, who is this band? Like, this is a Christian band. And I was like, oh, like Bloodlines, like, and I knew right there, like, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to appeal to my metal brothers and sisters who are seeking God, on the fence, unsure. I've, not to toot my own horn, but I have helped so many people reignite their faith or find safety in their faith. I could show you the messages. Dude. I was gonna say,
can you tell me at least maybe like one like DM or like one conversation they've had on TikTok that was really inspiring?
I'll give you one. I did a video where I used the Prince of Egypt sound through Heaven's Eyes, and I can't remember the exact. What was the video? No, sorry. I take that back. I'm getting ahead of myself. I used Logic's song, the anti-suicide song. And I did it where it was like Jesus was talking to you saying, I don't want you to die. And I used scripture talking about like those who are like, you know, Jesus helps those who are heavy hearted, and, you know, and I did a whole video, and that's another one of my early ones I was really proud of. And it blew up and it did really well. And I got a comment about somebody he was like, hey, I'm schizophrenic, and I forgot the name of the medication, but it's for schizophrenia. And he was like, my plan tonight was to overdose on my, whatever, I forgot the name of the schizophrenia medication, but he was like, I was going to overdose on that, and I saw your video. I will give God a try. And I kept in touch with that guy. I DM'd him, and I was like, hey man, I haven't talked to him in a while. I should probably check in on him. But I reached out, I messaged him, and I was like, are you okay, dude? Like, what's going on, man? And I can't remember, even if I could remember the details, I wouldn't, throw it out there. But long story short, it was just, he had a lot going on, mental issues, plus life. And he was planning on taking his life that day. He was like, I was dead set. I had already decided, and I happened to see your video, and it changed my perspective. It changed my thinking. And I realized that's the one thing I haven't really given a try is Jesus. And I kept in touch for like a year or two. And last I heard from him, he moved to Mexico to be with his grandma. His grandma is a devout Christian, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to live with my grandma to stay away from drugs and go to church with her and stuff. So I'm leaving. I think I don't remember where he lived, the Midwest somewhere, but yeah. And that guy has stuck with me for years, dude. For years, that guy stuck with me. I was checking, hey, man, how's it going? He's, I'm doing good. I'm like, good. He's still alive. Yep. He's like, I'm on fire for the Lord, man. I'm really focusing on him. And
wow.
So that, and honestly, if I were to like get hacked or I died or like TikTok, Instagram disappear tomorrow, wouldn't matter. Like that was worth it. Like just that one guy knowing that, and he made it worth it, really. And not to mention, there's so many other people that are like, dude, you reignited my faith. I introduced a lot of metal music to like Christian, like worshiping music, and that's a lot of some metalheads who converted were struggling with. Was they're like, dude, I love metal music so much, and that was like the one thing that I just felt like was a sin. Because sure, there's a lot of bands or songs out there you shouldn't listen to. Mm-hmm. Not all of them are bad, but secular is secular, if we're being honest, you know. And I've given these people, these certain people that are like, dude, I gave them bands and music to listen to that honor God, worship God, glorify God, promote Christianity, promote Jesus's teachings, promote, you know, and that gives them something to listen to other than, you know, guy talking about slitting his wrists or whatever, you know, whatever it may be. So that was definitely one of the biggest ones for me, was that just these people reaching out like, dude, I was going to take my life. I had a guy reach out where he said he walked in on his wife cheating on him, came home early, and he was like, he's like, somebody's going to die, whether it's them or me. Like, I had, you know, talked that guy off the ledge. I hope. Yeah. I hope. I haven't, you know, I have no way of actually knowing if I'm, you know, yeah. But I from what I could tell, I talked him off the ledge. I don't know what happened to him, but, you know, it's just things like that. Like, that definitely makes it worth it. And I think that might have been my calling, is to help these types of people that are like, dude, I need somebody real to talk to, not a guy that, you know, nice shirt and tie, you know, suits. I need somebody who's lived
not like a Ned Flanders type of person.
Exactly. I want somebody who's kind of at least been somewhat similar in my shoes.
Sure.
Like, I want to hear it from you. Like, hey man, I have stretched ears and tattoos. Hey man, I loved Lamb of God and listening to Sepultura. Hey man, I loved, you know, all these other bands and this music and stuff. Like, I lived like this. I did coke. I did this. I did that. I used to get in fights, you know. I used to be very violent and quick to anger and all these other things. Like, I want to hear it from you. Why Jesus? You know, and I can be somebody for those people. A lot of those people get forgotten because, I hate to admit it, but there's a lot of Christians out there that if you look a certain way, they don't want nothing to do with you because you don't fit the bill. You don't fit the script that they think. They want Christians, like I said, being clean cut, and they feel intimidated, or they feel like they're not going to like me. Why? Well, I got plugs the size of Oreos in my ears, or I might even have a satanic tattoo on my arm because I went through a dark time, or whatever it may be, and people are just going to judge me immediately and just think they already have me figured out. And me asking questions is me trying to get them trapped in a box for a I gotcha moment, and not me actually being genuine and curious and trying to seek God. So unfortunately that does happen. And it's kind of cool that I can be that person for those people. If they, pray to God, they find me. And I usually respond to about anybody that reaches out with like serious stuff. Like if they're reaching out and, hey, I need advice. And I'll say, for my first thing I always say is like, well, I'm not a pastor, and if I can help, I will, you know, like I don't have the answers for everything. You know, sometimes I have to say, I don't know. And
sure. Sometimes that's the best answer to say is, I don't know, instead of giving really bad advice.
I was going to say, and that's my thing, is there's a lot of Christians need to learn that. Stop trying to act like you know everything. You know, if you don't know, don't wing it. Just say, hey man, I don't know. I'll look into it. Let me get back to you tomorrow. Like that's something Christians need to learn how to do too. Say, I don't know. I don't know. I see these like, and they come up with the most like, I don't know, man. It's dangerous to do that. To pretend you know something and act like, well, because I don't want to. They don't ever want to get caught against the wall and admit like, you know, well, Jesus is king, you know. So like, I can't lose this argument. Yes, you can. You can lose the argument. You can say, hey man, you know what? I don't know, but let me get back to you. Let me ask somebody who does. Let me get back to you. So that way you can at least teach and then you learn yourself. So next time you're asked, you know what I mean?
I'm sure a lot of people feel the desire to speak the gospel, but they don't have confidence in themselves in case they do slip up. They don't feel like they're qualified enough to speak the gospel.
Absolutely. And they get to a point like, well, what's a wretch like me doing, you know, speaking the gospel when I don't.
That's the enemy.
You know what I mean? And yeah, I think, well, you just got to remember what Jesus told you to do it. So even if you're bad at it, you know, as long as you tell the truth and don't lie and go on and you know, wing it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always good. Like if you know somebody's about to ask you, you have to have a real conversation about it. Pray to God right before you start. Lord, please let the Holy Spirit guide me and, you know, help me say what needs to be said. And if you get to a point where you're like, I don't know anything and you don't feel led to say anything, ready? Practice it. I don't know. You know, it's not that hard.
Have you ever thought about maybe serving at a church at some point?
I would like to. I really would. My wife was saying just the other day, she was like, she's like, I really wish we had like a bunch of money because then we could open up a church and this and that. And I told her, like, in good conscience, I could not get up on the pulpit because I don't know enough. I'm not a theologian. I really wish I was. I really wish I was an apologist. I really wish I had that type of brain. But
we just lost a really good one the other week, Buddy Bachman.
Yes.
It was good.
See, and that's I couldn't get in front of the pulpit and try to actually like A, take myself seriously, but B, expect others to take me seriously and be like, hey, because there's so much I still need to do. There's so much I need to get there. You know what I mean?
And you still can.
I can, absolutely.
If you truly want to, if you feel like God's put that on your heart to do that, I mean, you still can.
Absolutely. And I know I'm not ready yet. And you're never going to be ready. Like you're never going to be sinless or anything, but there's certain things that I need to finish overcoming and battling before I can take myself serious enough and get in front in good conscience, just get in front of Jesus's flock and be like, oh, listen to me. And they're like, this fat guy, he can't even control his appetite. He's slothing around like this guy. You want to listen to you and you're going to sit here and tell me about gluttony? You know what I mean? So
for sure,
it's not, you know, I'm not saying I need to lose weight before I can speak the word. It's just, there's certain things I need to finish before I can start, you know, just out of respect for the Lord, you know? But I definitely would like to serve at a church at some point. If God opens that door for me to do something, whether it's just, you know, serving as a greeter or
I think
janitor.
something where you can have conversations with people and deal with people one-on-one, really get connected with people, not maybe just handing out the pamphlet for the day or for the weekend, but something that you could really sit down and connect with people. I really feel like that could be something for you for sure, especially youth.
Yeah.
Because people don't think that, you know, being Christian is cool. Like you were saying.
Yeah,
or something that you were trying to prove a while back ago that Christianity was cool, but
in the wrong way.
Yeah.
In the wrong way. Yeah. And I think that's, like I said, those kids that grow up in the church, they see the kids at school that don't. And a lot of the rules and the laws God has put in place for us keeps us from being accepted as a cool, popular, you know what I mean? Because these kids are drinking and these kids are doing this. And
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're just squares. And that's.
I'm seeing a shift though in the culture though.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot of stats that say that a lot of people don't attend church, but I definitely see something coming up.
Yeah.
They say that the younger generation now isn't drinking as much as they once were. being more, actually, honestly, more conservative values in the younger generations coming up.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've seen it in our state. Just where's that gotten everybody? We live under this free. You know what I mean? No structure, no family values.
Well,
majority
they feel
area.
like they don't have to answer to anybody. They feel like they're their own gods.
Yeah, exactly. And where's that? People can't pay their rent.
Their morality comes from a place that has no morals.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, they grew up and they see, now that they're adults, they see where it led them. You can't pay your rent. You want to have kids, but you can't afford to, or everyone else is glorifying these gross things, and you may not even be a Christian yourself, but a lot of these people are waking up and they're like, I had it all wrong. There might be something to and it becomes appealing. It comes to a point where Jesus's values become appealing. Yeah, I would like a wife that isn't sleeping behind my back. Mm-hmm. I would like a family that I'm the protector of, and that stuff becomes appealing especially when you get to a certain age. You're like, yeah, that's the way to live life. Like, be a loving husband and a father and a provider and a protector. And it becomes appealing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Even this like alternative media now, like old people watch Fox News a lot, old people watch CNN, but now like as far as like news media goes, it's all on YouTube.
Yeah.
The Russell Brands of the world, the Tucker Carlsons, all of them are very religious focused now. And a lot of their content, which is very surprising.
Yes.
So there's definitely a shift. Even I listened to this one guy named, I don't know if you know who Tim Pool is.
I've heard of the name. But
okay,
I
so
don't.
like he used to be like he covered like Occupy Wall Street when it first became like really huge. Like he was just kind of a reporter, very liberal leaning. But now he's kind of seen what the world has come to. It's like, yeah, the liberal stuff now just isn't it. Like they've gone way too left. It's not so much that I, as a liberal, speaking of Tim Pool, like have really shifted my views, but the left has gone so far left that I'm like a center right.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually saw and about that.
He's been talking, and he's never really been religious at all. He thinks that there's something out there, right? But he's never claimed to be Jesus Christ. But even talking about the spirituality of like demonic, like evil in the world, like people are just waking up that there is something to the world than just a Big Bang, us coming, from us being created from something out of nothing, like there's gotta be more to life than what we actually think it is.
Yeah. It's a lot of people are waking up. There's something going on where people are asking more questions, and it might be to thank those people. It might be because of those people where we were talking about somebody today who wasn't a big religious guy, was not a very big fan of religion, but he at one point shared those values or agreed with them. And a lot of those people are going to start like, oh, maybe my Christian neighbor was onto something, like, because we've been saying for years, like, hey man, killing babies isn't the way to do it. Hey, living that lifestyle can lead to diseases and sickness, and you're just going to be unhappy. Hey, this is a sin. We shouldn't be doing this. And, coming from somebody who doesn't believe, yeah, whatever, dude. Who cares? Like, whatever. Let them live their life. And it's like, hey, I agree with you to an extent. Let them live their life, but also like we need to point out the dangers of this. We can't be silent about it. And yeah. Shoo us away. Enough time has passed where the fruits of our warnings are bearing, and they're seeing like, whoa. The whole abortion thing was, it started with, they just wanted to like have free access to do it in case like there was like medical problems and or like a rape survivor or victim. But now it's that they just don't want to raise their kids. They don't want to they don't want the responsibility. They don't want the responsibility, especially from their actions, like the consequences and like the same thing with the gay marriages and stuff. It was first like, well, we just wanted these people, we wanted them to be able to get married. They're two consenting adults. You can disagree and say it's gross, but they're two consenting adults. They should be allowed to get married. And then now it's children don't even know if they are a boy or a girl, and parents are encouraging it, you know, and a lot of people who aren't, you know, at one point in time, they might've been like, hey, who cares? You know?
Yeah.
But now that it's getting to the point where people are like, whoa, hey, maybe these Christians might have a point. Maybe they're onto something. And I think that has a huge step in what we're talking about. This upbringing of a lot more people are starting to value those conservative values, those family oriented Christian values.
Because now it just seems pretty cut and dry to me. Like, you know, cheering or not feeling sorry for someone speaking their beliefs and getting killed over it, you know? I could just never see myself on the opposite side feeling gleeful that somebody on that side got hacked for something that they believed in.
Right. And it's so...
And I mean, it didn't really even start with, I mean, yes, this was extremely alarming, and I think it's, you know, it's glaring, but even this whole, like, the healthcare CEO that happened half a year ago, like,
yeah,
I understand, like, healthcare and all that stuff, people getting accepted or denying for coverage, like, yeah,
I'd be frustrated too.
It's a very crummy industry, but, you know, let the law take care of what happens to that guy, and don't take matters into your own hands.
Yeah, and because it just hurts you. At the end of the day, they still got what they wanted, and, you know, which is what made you mad. You know, that didn't change the coverage issue. That I think if I remember right, it was like his mom got denied life-saving.
Something happened like that.
Like, he had every right to be upset,
Sure.
but at the end of all it did was throw him in prison. And you know, and it didn't fix what happened to his loved one that got denied access. You know what I mean? And
it definitely, I mean, it raised a lot of fear for a lot of companies, for sure, because I think a lot of companies retracted or did some things differently after that, because it scared a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I mean, was it effective? Yeah, but it just in the wrong sense altogether.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it really is a form of terrorism.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
Even to this thing that happened to Charlie or whatever. I mean, people don't feel safe talking on campuses anymore without any, like, high detailed security.
And it's like, you can't even say, like, even if you're going to be scared, even if it's something that they might mostly agree with. You can just, if you say one thing that isn't 100%, you know, with them, you can say 90% of your spiel could be on their side, but say, hey, but you know what? I want to critique this one thing. You're now allowed to get shot, and they'll dance over your body when it happens too.
And that's just the part I can't get on board with. Like,
yeah,
how can you do that unless you don't have any moral value? Like, who do you appeal to?
Yeah, it's people.
I mean, is life precious or is it not?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say a lot of them don't think it is.
But then again, they think that, you know, not obeying the law of being able to cross the border legally and all that stuff, you know?
That's just them on a pedestal.
They just pick and choose.
That's just their soapbox that they like to get on, and virtue signal is all it is, because if you argue against it, then they can somehow call you a name and say, it doesn't matter if you're just like, hey, like, here's why. Like Charlie Kirk was, like I was telling you earlier, like, that's how he was. Hey, this is, I don't like this, and here's why. All they hear is, hey, I don't like this, and then the here's why.
I think it's even more to just disagreeing. I think it's more of the fact that they truly think that there are people in this country that really are Nazis or fascists, people that actually want to exterminate parts of groups of the country.
Sure.
I had one post of Charlie a couple weeks ago, and I had one person coming out and disagreeing with me, saying that Charlie Kirk deserved what he got because he was a fascist.
Let me ask you this. Who determines who's a fascist and who's not? Who gets to decide that at the end of the day?
I think it's funny, the people that are Antifa or the people that claim to be fine fascists are usually the fascists.
Yes, it's oxymoron, or no. It's hypocritical.
It is.
Very hypocritical, you know, because he was saying stuff that we didn't like. Okay, but he never called for action. Now, hey, like if he was constantly going to campuses and saying, I need you guys to stand up and fight, kill your liberal professors, then yeah, I'd be like, whoa, wait.
For sure.
Shut up. What's wrong with you?
I would hope that I would have some common sense to be like, no, this is bizarre.
And I might have been able to sympathize him with a little bit more because they'd be like, well, he was dangerous. You see what he was doing? It's like,
yeah,
okay, I get it. But he wasn't doing that. He was like, hey, I disagree with you. Come up and talk about it.
And honestly, he's pretty milquetoast compared to these other people that are on the internet.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah.
It's like, even with Trump or whatever, like, we don't really have to go into too much of political views, but like, even they were claiming that like prior Republican candidates, like Mitt Romney, for instance, was going to put you all back in the chains.
Oh my gosh.
Joe Biden said, and he was milquetoast.
Yeah.
And then you got Trump.
Yeah.
And you know what? Trump didn't take it. He fought back, and they didn't like that.
See, and I think that's something I don't think they're aware of that.
They got a taste of their own medicine.
The worse and more extreme they get is what's gonna happen on the other side too. Because they're the right, whether you're right or left, the right isn't gonna stay where they're at now. When you get more extreme, they're gonna get more extreme. Just like, if two countries are at war and they both send one guy to the battlefield, well, then the other guy was like, hey, let's send a tank too. Think that guy's just gonna like leave his one? No. So that's exactly what's going on the left and right.
It only takes one extremist to make the other side be like, oh, these are
this is how we're playing the game. All right,
all the 50%, all these guys are extremists now.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like, so this is how we're playing the game, and a lot of people are gonna,
it's very tribalistic these days.
Oh, so hey, we were just doing boxing matches, but you brought a knife, so now we're gonna bring a gun, and then we brought a gun, so you brought a grenade, and so we brought a tank.
It's just the pick.
That's what happens.
It's just the pick and choose, man. Like January 6th, like I thought, like a lot of those people were doing stuff wrong, and they should be in prison. But when you do George Floyd's rights or whatever, I guess it's okay for them.
Yeah, and I wish
they pick and choose.
I wish there was more neutrality, because I remember when the George Floyd thing first happened, what the news was at the time, I was pissed too, because you were talking about how I was Ron Paul fanatic in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still to this day libertarian, but Christian first. Libertarian views come way, way, way after, and if it conflicts with my faith, then I don't have them anymore. But when I first heard it, and the people of that town were rioting, and they went after the police station that first time, I was all for it, because I was like, well, race aside, if we're looking at it how our founding fathers would have looked at it, a police officer killed an innocent American citizen, and they went after the police, the people that did it, right? I was all for it. I was like, cool. Yeah. Our founding fathers would be, good job. But then, of course, later you find out there was a lot more to the story.
Well, the autopsy.
And the autopsy, and some things weren't, weren't brought to light until later. And then you're like, oh. And it wasn't just that town that was pissed off, or the family members, or his friends, or just like I said, that community.
Mm-hmm.
It gave people across the nation, it just gave them a reason to riot. And
what's sad is it also gave people an opportunity to profit off, like Black Lives Matter. They took the money and they ran.
Dude, and I'm so surprised so many people still, even after it was like brought to light, like, hey, these guys are using you. They're laughing at you. Yeah, Black Lives Matter, buy your merch. Yeah, pay for this. And they're laughing, sitting in a nice house. Like idiots. They don't care. They say they care, but they don't care. And you should be like pissed, because you're like, hey man, I thought you were doing, like that's how I would be if I was helping a Christian ministry and I was financially supporting them, and I was screaming their ministry name in the streets and stuff because I was so devout for what they were doing. And then I find out that they're just using me for money.
If you're not careful, you could easily be a pawn. I mean, even when Joe Biden said like, hey, we'll give you health care, we'll give you all this stuff for illegal immigrants, like, it takes people, even American citizens, months to actually see a doctor to get something that's pretty seriously taken care of.
Yeah.
Healthcare is overran. Like if you've been in California trying to get to Los Angeles, sometimes if in traffic, it can take you 5 hours when it could, it should only be 2.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. So like the fact that we're already overcrowded, bring in everybody else, like no one can live.
Yeah.
And all they really wanted was just eventually their vote down the line.
Yeah.
Hoping that eventually that they get their citizenship and then they're a number for their party.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Like, even when things get brought to light, they don't care. And I mean, I like to think I'm pretty neutral for the most part. And it happens on both sides.
It does.
You know, and that's where we have to be different.
There's a lot of Republicans that will say, like, you know, we need evangelical Christian values or Judeo-Christian values, which is a very wild phrase to even say in itself. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they're just trying to use you as your vote.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where my issue is because, like, I'm not the biggest Trump supporter. I don't hate the guy, but I'm not, he's going to save America. I really liked him because even when I was a kid, I was like, I wish we had like a real American president that like talked like an American, not like this proper blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. You know, like, not like a George Bush or a Barack Obama where they're very cordial, or like a, you know, Mitt Romney or whoever. But I want like a real, and now I got one and I'm like, oh, you know, and it's not that I don't hate Trump. But there's some certain things when it's like, well, he's a Christian, and it's like, yeah, but is he? But my issue is, okay, maybe he believes in God, but is he reflecting that? And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be 100% honest. I laughed hysterically when he said, "We're gonna bomb the." I laughed, but at the end of it, it's not really funny, is it? Because that's not what Jesus would want us to do, right? I'm all for making moves and doing what we have to do to protect innocent people. But now that I'm older, how we carry ourselves and how it's not a game. It's not funny. People dying, whether they're on the wrong side, you know, what we think is the wrong side, whether they share the same religion as us or not, whether they're Islamic extreme, those are still God's people. Jesus died for those people too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whether they accept him or not, he still died for them. And if you're not actively just trying to defend yourself, and if we're going out of our way to a certain degree, or if it's money that's fueling a war or a resource or whatever it may be, and I know a lot of people disagree with me, but if you're not actively just trying to stay alive and we're unaliving people for such fictitious things, I see it technically, you could be potentially damning people to hell because they didn't have a chance to find Christ yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how I see it. Is like, if we just go around killing people who disagree with us, or they're in a different country and like, well, they're evil and they're doing this. I'm all for defending the weak. I'm all for it. But also, are we just defending the weak and that's what we're doing? Or do we have our hand in someone's pocket or someone's hand in our pocket? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's where I kind of stand on it. No,
I agree with that. Because, I mean, honestly, people talk about Trump being fascist, like really like right wing, but like he's kind of just a 90s Democrat. A lot of his views, I mean, I was very disappointed when he just kind of said, like, we're just going to leave abortion up to the states. And he just, the
libertarian in me was like, yeah, that's how it should be. But like I said, Christ comes first. And I was like, we need to get rid of it, man. Get rid of it, because honestly, we can talk about how a Planned Parenthood is essentially just a racist organization anyway. Like, and a lot of people of color, you know, when they find that out and you show them, and they're like, what? They're like, oh yeah, the person that opened it was a white supremacist. They weren't doing it just, oh yeah, you know, young mothers who might have giving birth complications or health issues, or the baby might be miserable if it's born because it's got so many things wrong with it. Or no, it was like, hey, let's build these in poor communities where, you know, a lot of black people are, and give them the option. You know, they're not going to want a baby, no, you know, because the situation that they're in these, we're specifically putting them in poor communities, you know. And you can look in, like, and a lot of people are waking up to that, and not enough, but there has been a surge of people waking up to that, being like, dude, Planned Parenthood is a racist, supremacist, satanic organization. And it's so wild that, like, we Christians will speak out against it. And they're like, oh, you're just a bigot. And it's like, no, like, quite the opposite, actually, man. Don't go in there. Because first off, what are they doing with the discarded bodies
We talked about some demonic stuff going on, like sacrifices are a thing.
I saw this. I don't want to put it out there, but I saw this thing where it was someone was saying like abortion clinics are the modern day. Is it ball?
Yeah,
where they used to throw the babies into the furnace to sacrifice, and they're like that. It's like Satan is still doing it to this day, and people are fooled. You know, at least back then people knew what they were doing. You know, now it's people have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've heard about like Alex Jones going to Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
How they do like fake sacrifices, and they have like a huge owl god, which is what, Moloch, I think it is.
Moloch, yeah.
But they have this huge fire, and they're burning these bodies in effigy, and
they say they're fake, but I mean,
they probably are. I don't know. People are just, you know, when you're elite like that, you just do some really weird stuff because you can.
You know what trips me out? I always think about, because when these people like Jay-Z or like these high up, like they got their like P. Diddy, these people that they're like, yeah, they're really famous, but you're like, how far does that fame go? And you find out later that they have their fingers in everything. And it's like, what happens behind closed doors to the point where like, why does everybody turn Satanist all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Why is all of a sudden these satanic rituals and like, oh, all of a sudden this guy's like trans, or, you know what I mean? Like they're relatively normal people. And, but when they get to a certain point of fame, then all of a sudden they have to do something that's very anti-Christ-like. Like it's just, it's evil. And I'm like, why aren't more people putting the pieces together? At least the people that are involved in it. Like, oh, we have to do this for money and power and fame. Otherwise we're not allowed to continue, or we get blacklisted. Right. At what point
you get Kanye'd?
Yeah. Right. And it's like, at what point do you like, even if you're the celebrity, like, hey, maybe Jesus is real, because there's a lot of evil stuff. And like, this is the stuff that Christians talk about, and they're doing it. And so if we have, so Satan's gotta be real, right? And if Satan's real, then Jesus is real. Like, I don't know. That's just like, that's how I think about it. It's like, at what point do you go, oh, like I have to do these things or whatever, like in order to keep my job? Like, why? Who am I worshiping? You know what I mean? Like I personally, I would be asking those questions, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, you got to do this satanic ritual. Like, why? Well, because Satan's real, and he's the one that gives you all the money and fame and power and the talent. Isn't
it just crazy that we just like drool over famous people, quote unquote, especially now famous people, because now they're just like attractive people that just got popular for
got lucky
displaying their lives, like the Kardashians.
Oh yeah, well, they're bad.
Because then that opened up like TikTokers and like these people that just do IRLs the entire day, like on, you know, Kick and Twitch and crap like that.
Dude, you know, and like there's some people where I get it. Like, you ever heard of Queso?
No.
Oh my gosh, he's a streamer.
I don't think so.
He's a streamer. He does like video games or something. I don't watch him, but like I'll see the clips. And I see why he's famous, because he's hilarious. He's hilarious. But then there's like other people where you're like,
do you know who Neon is?
I've heard of him.
He does some really outlandish crap. He used to be like really good friends with Aiden Ross, if you know who that is.
I've heard of that name too.
Okay, yeah, they were kind of buddies, and then he did his own thing, but he's just out there just doing just provocative crap, just trying to get in trouble.
Yeah, see, and that's the issue.
A lot of these things are probably staged too, like where he goes out places and he gets quote unquote robbed.
Yeah, at some point, even, you know, it's Hollywood, right? It's got to be Hollywood to a certain extent where things are staged. Like
there has to be drama. There has to be stuff.
Something's got to be fake, because at some point people are going to get bored.
Or like there was an instance where like I think it was either when, gosh, what's his name? If you want to talk about CT Nate Diaz, UFC.
Yeah,
I think he went to either his boxing promo or it was still when he was UFC, but he was out there like heckling him, or he asked like a really dumb question to him. And like his posse like tried to jump him, like ran outside and tried to chase him down and try to jump him. Like, who knows if it's probably staged.
Yeah,
it's got to be something to that degree.
It's like the rapper beef, like those rappers beef that like they've come out and they're like, oh yeah, no, that was like put together by our PR.
I think the Drake and Kendrick stuff was probably real though.
Yeah, because that was some that's some serious accusations.
Yeah, big accusations.
That's
for
not
sure.
like, oh yeah, let's do that so I can make some more records. Like no, dude, I'm not a pedo. I ain't letting you call me that. You know. Yeah. So like if Kendrick knows something, you know what I mean, then
yeah,
You don't just air that out unless you're
sure.
beefing for real. But I think certain things were like,
For sure.
you know, oh, these two don't like each other, and it's just so you buy both their albums, really, because you want to see who wins. Like, oh, next album release, so and so are beefing.
It's Britney Spears versus what's her name, Christina Aguilera. Then all of a sudden they're French kissing in the VMAs and crap like that. You know?
Yeah, they're just laughing at you.
Just like UFC beef or whatever. Like, you know, they try to talk up to pay for the pay-per-views, and then all of a sudden they're hugging it out after the fight. Like, this was crap. Yeah, we fell for it again.
Life, dude. That's the bread and circus. You know what I mean?
But this is what we crave for. We crave for the drama,
problems, and violence, and you know, that's the sinful nature in us, man.
Well,
that's
what's scary, because when I was trying to look up those statistics for like people that felt like, you know, Charlie Kirk's death or the CEO of the healthcare CEO's death, like a lot of the people that felt like it was justified are the younger crowd. They're so desensitized to like video games or the things that they see like in Twitter and all that stuff, like all like the violence, the gore. Like we're just so desensitized now. It's like, well, what, you know, I see death all the time. Like, what is a life to this person who seemed like a trash human being? Like, why can't we just get rid of him?
Well, you got to remember the people that were born in like 2010, you know what I mean? Like, they're old now, like they're older, and they're, you know, like they grew up in a time where technology is everything. In real life isn't as prominent. Does that make sense? Everything's online now. So these younger crowds, not only, like you said, they're desensitized because they see stuff on their phone all the time, you know, cartel beheading people, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
But also, like, their life is behind a screen. So it's not real to them. Almost. You know what I mean? It's not like,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not as gritty or serious to them, because I don't know these people. I just see it on my screen and yeah, you know, I agree with why he did it, you know, like, and it's like, hey, I can agree too. I agree why he did it. I understand why he did it. Like, I'd be pissed too. But is it right? No. And that's something I wish more people would ask. Well, is it right?
People, I mean, I've been hearing it for a while, the people talking about the idea of having civil war in America. But when you look at all these opportunities where like we could have easily gone off the exit and would have been like, okay, let's go ahead and tone this thing down a little bit and let's actually self-evaluate. Like, they had a chance to do it during Trump's assassination attempt.
Mm-hmm.
There was a idea maybe that we can slow things down. That didn't happen.
No, it's gonna get worse, man.
Another test was the CEO of the healthcare place. That was another off point. That didn't seem to happen. And now the Charlie Kirk thing, that was another opportunity. Didn't happen. It's like, is there ever going to be an opportunity where there's going to be a way for us to get off the exit and be like, okay, we need to treat each other like human beings on no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Like you know, a human is a human.
I will die on this hill. I honestly believe it's just going to get worse.
I unfortunately agree with you.
If we aren't like in the birthing pains or in the end times, or really creeping up on it, and I mean within the next 100 years, if we're not, if that's not a factor, what needs to happen is it needs to get really bad. And by I mean really bad is war, famine, people die before we ever get back to a sense of community, a sense of love for each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can look, like if you look at 9/11, you know, that brought a lot of people, Democrat and Republican, together, because
even COVID for the first couple of weeks in a way.
Sure. And that's unfortunately the truth. That's the type of things that need to happen. And I think we're so far gone and desensitized ourselves. 9/11 just happened 20 something years ago, but COVID just happened, you know, a handful of years ago. And like you said, with that one too, it was just we had this small sense of community.
Weren't you the one that posted the Charmin? You know what I'm talking about? Wasn't that you that posted that?
Dude, I had no idea that meme would blow up. Oh my gosh. That
was you though, right? Can you describe the meme?
Yeah, it was. Let me see if I can find. So remember, I told you I got hacked to my old Facebook. That page is gone. I don't have that page, but it was
because it was the idea of like getting PTSD from like the first week of COVID, and like there was like a Charmin branding, but there was like tanks and like all the other stuff going on in the background.
It was Young Daddy Meme Lord. That was my meme page name. And dude, I had no idea. Like, I remember my sister sent me a link to like a couple of different memes, the best memes of COVID. Mine like kept placing like number 4.
Wow, that's wild.
So here's the page.
So you actually generated that yourself?
Yeah, no, I made that.
Oh my God.
I made that.
That's awesome.
Let me see if I can find it.
If you could send it to me, I'll post it in the video. It's too funny. Not to share.
The dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't see, because I don't have access to the page anymore. That Facebook got hacked, so I don't have access to it anymore. But it was at one point, it was like over like 2 million people saw it.
Wow.
And it has over 200,000 shares. And it was like, I remember
that was pretty great though.
I remember the statistics, and I was like, dude, but yeah, that meme page was just like, yeah, I wasn't living for God.
But the sense of community though, like you're talking about, with
screenshot it and send it to you.
9/11 rallying each other.
Yeah.
COVID, but
something bad, and that's, like I said, I'll die on that hill. Something bad, really bad, needs to happen before we all together come as a collective and, hey, like, is that mushroom clouds in the distance? Is that a complete countrywide, nationwide blackout? Is that us being invaded? I don't know.
Could be a lot of things.
But I'm a firm believer in order for us, like I said, if Jesus's return isn't in the picture, something like that's going to have to happen, and it's the sad truth.
Because now there's so many opportunities where the mark of the beast can present itself as well. I don't know if you've heard about what the UK is doing about digital IDs. Oh
yeah, no. See, and that's something that's gonna suck because I ain't doing it. I ain't doing that. You're not putting nothing in my skin, dude. Like even Elon Musk's Neuralink, I was like, no.
Yeah, well, I was like the first sign of like mark of the beast, possibly, or like the idea of like a cryptocurrency that's gonna tie around with the entire world.
Because you're not gonna be able to eat. What does it say? You're not going to be able to work. You're not going to be able to shop with it.
That's what they think. The idea of like, if you introduce the digital ID, they think that's going to like kind of do what China does with the social credit scores and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. There's a Black Mirror episode about that.
I'm sure there is.
Just focus on God. Really, that's where I find my peace, because I was super political, man. I used to be very political, and I found a lot of peace in just, you know what? Christ won. It's just the time now. We just have to wait. We're in the waiting period. We're supposed to do what he called us to do, be a fisher of men, and just focus on him, worship him. That's the meaning of life. What's the meaning of life? To serve God. That's the meaning of life. And if we do that, I think a lot of our anxieties go away when you really put your trust in God, and you're like, you know what? This is scary times, but you know what? God says he's won. We just have to wait for that time period to come around. And it sucks that, the world's scary, man. It's scary, but that's where I get down to when I finally, like, I start to feel myself get riled up. I just sigh. God's got it. Jesus said he's going to take care of it. So just put your trust in him, really. And, and that's like I was just telling you, I was reading Peter, and Peter was writing to the Christians in what is now modern day Turkey. It was Asia Minor. He was speaking in Asia Minor. It's modern day Turkey now. And Peter was telling these Christians were being persecuted and tortured for their faith. And even in that, Peter's teachings was, God's told us to love our neighbor. God's told us to forgive people, right? You're being persecuted, and the whole 2 letters Peter has, his speeches that he's telling these people that are being persecuted, he's telling them, love them, don't make no excuse for evil. Like we were talking about, God gave us freedom, but don't use freedom as an excuse for evil. Don't. And he's talking like, we can't lash, man. We can't lash out. We need to do what Jesus told us to do. He said he'll, You have the whole parable about, you know, the father that leaves the sons and the servants, and they're not doing their job. You know, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Is he gave us, and it's really hard, man, because the enemy can use your faith against you. So I think I just made a video about that, where people were, after Charlie died, people were posting, David didn't pray for Goliath, he killed him. You're not David. You're not David. Jesus gave you instructions, and don't, you know, and the enemy, Satan, really could use your faith against you. He knows he is the master manipulator, and all he has to do is piss you off in a way where it touches your faith just enough to get you mad and want to stand up for Jesus and fight for him and commit violence. And Jesus said, nah, don't do that. And we forget because we get so mad. And I'm guilty of it too. But when you sit down and you remember, all right, what did Jesus tell me to do in this? Oh, he told me to forgive them and pray for our persecutors, right? We're supposed to pray for them. That's written word by Jesus. Jesus said that. And if you think Christ is king, then listen to the king. You know, we want to just go up into arms and kill them all, fight them, they're evil. No. And I understand why. And I'm not disagreeing with your emotions, but we need to do what the king ordered. And even, like I said, even Peter, the guy that cut off what was it, Malchus, his ear, cut off his ear because he was trying to defend Jesus. This guy, the guy that was ride or die for Jesus, dude would piece you up real quick when it came to Jesus. He's telling these people that are being prosecuted for their faith, he's reminding them of what Jesus taught. In the middle of these people being tortured and killed and chased and hunted down, he's saying, love them, forgive them, pray for them. Man, if you read it and you're just like, dude, like, all he's doing is just backing up what Jesus said, just a good reminder for them. Remember what Jesus said to do. We are not evil. This isn't, you know, we don't repay evil with evil. And that's something I think we, especially Christians nowadays, really, especially baby Christians, ones who are new to the faith, that's something that we really have to reiterate. And I get a lot of backlash every time I bring it up, dude, because so many of my followers, like people that watch my videos and stuff, they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And it's not, and like, don't argue with me, go argue with Jesus, because I'm not the one that said it. I'm literally, I can pull up the verses and you can read it for yourself. Those are Jesus's words. Do you believe in Jesus? Well, yeah. Okay, do you believe Jesus said this? Yeah. It's like that. I was actually going to make a video with the Patrick Star sound where he's like, this is your wallet. And he's like, yep. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, it's not my wallet. And he's like, is this your ID? Yep. So it must belong to you. Makes sense to me. So it's your wallet. It's not my wallet. I was going to use that sound for this exact scenario where it's, did Jesus say this? Yeah. You believe in Jesus? Yeah. Okay, so maybe what you're calling for right now isn't such a good idea. Nah. It is. I know what I'm doing. Like, do you not see it? I get messages and comments all the time. They're like, oh, you know, let the men handle this. I'm like, no, let Jesus handle it. That's what you're not getting. You say you're a devout Christian and you believe it. A Christian means follower of Christ. It doesn't mean, you know, and Peter, the guy who literally struck a man's ear, is telling you, hey, I went down that path and Jesus said, live by the sword, die by the sword. Jesus also told us what to do. It's hard. It's not easy. It's easier said than done, but that's what we're supposed to. That's what we're called to do. And that can bring us right back full circle to sometimes following God puts you in uncomfortable circumstances, things you really don't want to do or go through. And that might be biting your tongue. That might be, you know, I could really just leap over this table and whoop that guy's butt. You know, this guy, he's probably 100 pounds soaking wet. And all he's doing is this, and he's just mocking my God, my Lord and Savior, the guy that died not only just for me, but for him too. And that's how he's talking about, like, that's easy, you know, that's the easy thing to do. That's what your flesh wants you to do. But Jesus is like, no, pray for him. Just pray for him, because tomorrow something could happen and it could change his mind and he can be saved.
I like it.
That's something I really wish more and more people would focus on, because it's like I said, the enemy's using it. He's using it against us even today, like the Charlie Kirk thing. Just like it's we're tired of being stepped on, is what it is. We're tired of it, and we see the evil getting more and more vibrant, more and more just common, and Satan knows what he's doing. He ain't stupid, and he ain't weak either. Like he knows exactly how to get you. And honestly, if he can corrupt you enough to where you stop living like Christ, because that's the way to pay him back. You want to, if you want revenge, that's the way to do it. Keep living for Christ. You get knocked down, beaten and battered, you get right back up and you continue the path that God laid out for you. That's what pisses him off. That's why you got beat down the first time, is because you were living like that and he wanted to stop you. So if you get back up, I've had enough. And he's like, okay, I win. Versus, nah, Jesus has got it. I'm going through hell right now, but it'll be worth it sooner or later. When I meet God and he looks at me, and Jesus looks at me and he says, hey, I know you. You did all these things. You held your faith. You had plenty of reasons. Oh, I know your flesh was screaming at you to, shoot someone. I know your flesh was screaming at you to take a swing on that guy, and you didn't. Why didn't you do it? You did it for me, because I told you. You kept my commands, and that's something I need to focus on, and I think more Christians do too, because do not let the enemy, corrupt your faith, and allow scripture to be twisted or emotions to control you, and just focus on what God said. Those are instructions right there. Put your blinders on, everything out, the word in front of you.
It's a pretty good way to end it. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah. AfterDeathIndustries.com. Solid guy. He's on fire for the Lord. I usually don't care to promote brands or.
It's a clothing brand?
He does Christian clothing. He just started. I think he launched in July of this year. He just started, but he's actually doing pretty well considering. And yeah, he's got really good designs, bold messages on the back. And it's a ministry essentially. He donates to the homeless, and he helps like vets and stuff like that. So it's not all just going into someone's pocket. And right now we have a shirt called Globally Hated that I actually helped design, and it's a paying homage to persecution. Like there's persecution going on in Nigeria right now, and just all over the globe in general. 10% of those proceeds are actually going specifically to persecution.org, which helps persecuted Christians all around the globe. So yeah, if you wanted something cool gear that's bold in faith and makes a proud, bold message, go to AfterDeathIndustries.com, and not only do you get a cool shirt out of it, or eventually he's gonna have hats and hoodies, but you're also helping a ministry serve others as well.
And then what about your TikTok?
Oh yeah, I'm the Christian Barbarian on Instagram and TikTok. Maybe sooner or later I'll have a YouTube too, but as of right now, those are the only two platforms I'm on.
YouTube would be cool.
Yeah, sooner or later. I actually would like to get I might have to, talk to you a little bit later about setting up a PC and stuff, because I eventually want to do like video, like React videos, and do that on
easy,
YouTube.
Man. It's so much easier as technology's gone on to like start your own stuff. I'll definitely, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. But, just, if you, also, if you're someone like me and you like Christian metal, or if you're a metalhead looking, new to Christ, check out Bloodlines. Of course, I'm going to, I think those guys are sick of me, man. I've met them in person. I got to hang out with them all day, and they're great guys, dude. Like literally their drummer, I'm like, he is like a radioactive, like rock, like Chernobyl, just emitting the Holy Spirit. Just like you come around that guy and you can feel God's love. Like, man, this, but yeah, they are on fire for the Lord. But also I have a link to Spotify in my TikTok bio, and it's just full of, it's a great jump pad for Christian metal. If you're a metalhead and you're new to Christ and stuff, it's a great segue. So give that a listen.
Cool, man. Well, Barrett, it's been long overdue since I've seen you last, man, but I'm really loving the direction that you're going in.
I love your podcast too, man. It's great. I just I watched that one you sent me yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is cool, you know. So I like what you're doing. Don't stop, man.
It was just some way for me, you know, because I served a little bit in a young adult ministry, and then when you talk to these people and their stories and what they've experienced, it's like there needs to be an avenue for these stories to go out somewhere. And
Absolutely.
you know, if I can do it, regardless if it gets views or not, at least it's an avenue for someone to come across.
Don't stop. I'm definitely gonna have people watch this and stuff too. So hopefully you'll get a little bit of my supporters come in and giving you some love, because you are a good guy and I really like what you're doing, and I'm sure somebody will like it too. So they just need to get your name out there is all.
I appreciate you, dude.
All right, man.